Okay, so in this one, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So on the file server device, orange background, we're going to go ahead and bring our attention to this icon right here, which is Tux for my portal control dashboard. I'm going to select that. We're going to click this option here, which is mini server startup. And I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. And we see here a little pop-up, mini server started. Your static site is now live and Syncthing is running. So what I have is a static site built on this device here, and I'm serving it from this particular device. And what I'm also doing in the background is starting up the Syncthing service, so that way I can share files from my end user device to this particular file server. So what I'll do here, we're going to take our attention over to the end user device, and I have a shortcut icon directly to my local portal, static site, which again, this is all running locally on my network here. And we see, here we go. This is my local portal file server static site. I have 3 main columns here, which is documents, media, and business. And then here at the bottom, we have a systems snapshot, which just gives me a quick overview of my file server device at a glance when I access the actual static site from any particular device. And just to kind of bring this in full circle here, I'll come back over to the file server. And we're going to click this folder, local portal. And we're going to right click on index, open with Genie, and boom, this is our static site that we've built. So we can see here, local portal, file server. We see our columns here, documents, media, business, and of course, documents, media, business on our static site. So what we can do here is on the end user device, I'm just going to select into documents, and I'm going to select into notes, and I'll click Linux tips. And right here, I can just scroll through. If I want to print, I can right click and print. And of course, we can go back to our directory here. We can select into any one of these other options. So we'll select maybe this one. And we can close out to return back to the main page. We'll select into pictures. And in here, I'll click into favorites, and we can select any one of these. I just kind of shared some icons. So the Linux Tux icon. And as well, we can go back and return to our home page. The last item here in these columns is business site. So I can select this. I'm actually trying to start my own business, and I wanted to have something that was kind of familiar and similar to like a SharePoint, but without having to pay for SharePoint. So I can select into this, which is a separate HTML file. And then I have my customer directory, ticket directory, and template directory. Now in these items right now, this is all fake data, so I don't mind showing this. And then at the bottom in here, I have a customer snapshot. So if I just want to get a quick overview of my customer info, if you will, so I can select this. And I can see that output file. And again, this is all fake data, so I don't mind sharing it, fake numbers, fake emails, so on and so forth. And we're going to go ahead and go back. And then I can even go back to the home page just by selecting back up here at the tab. And then last item here at the bottom is the systems stats snapshot. Let me go ahead and wake up this file server one more time. Boom. Super secret password. All right, so system snapshot. And in the system snapshot, we do get the uptime, CPU usage, memory, disk usage, and the timestamp. And we can bring our attention over here back to our HTML file. And the way that works is we see that information right here, but the way that I have that set up is with a script that's called generate stats. And right here, this is running our stats script and then outputting that data back to our HTML file. And to enhance that, I actually tied that back to a cron tab job or scheduled task to run that basically every 3 hours, which is why if we come back over to the static site, we can see here at 6 a.m. it was last ran, so it will run again at 9 a.m. Or let's go back over to the file server one more time. I'm going to minimize here, minimize one more time here, And then I can open up the dashboard, portal control dashboard, and I can do system stats. So if I want to manually run the script, I can do that here. And I'm just going to count that down again. 3, 2, okay. We're going to come back over to our local portal file server. I'm going to close out of the business HTML site, and I'm going to refresh the index.html. And boom. Oh, too funny. It's almost 9 AM now, so it's going to run again here in just a minute. But we can see the device has been up for 1 hour. It is at 30% CPU usage, but that's because we are doing the screen recording as well. And we did run the script on the device as well. The memory is currently at about 1.2 gigs and disk usage, 13 gigs used. And I do have roughly about 116 to use available on this device. So I do have roughly about 103 gigs available. And we can bring our attention back over to the file server one more time here. And just to show that, we'll open up the Genie file, and we're going to close because we see here that we have new data. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to reopen it, and right click, open with Genie, and boom, there we go. We see that new data has been output back to our HTML file. Okay, so that's going to be it for this one, and then we'll dive into the next segment in the next video. Okay, so in this one, I want to show how I'm able to share documents and files from the end user device back over to the file server, so that way I can share those files on the actual static site and access those from any devices on my local network. And the way I'm going to do that is using the Syncthing service. So if we recall back to the first video, I did actually start the mini server with both the web server static site as well as the Syncthing service. And then on the end user device, what we're going to do is take our attention to the gray background, Control-Alt-T, which is the shortcut key to our terminal. And then I'm going to just pull up some of the history commands here. And I'm going to go ahead and start the Syncthing service in the background. And minimize. And then what I'll do is open up the home directory, sync folder, go into sync docs, and then I'm just going to drop into important, create a new document, and we'll call this one Justin new doc. And the infamous hello world test. And then Control S. We'll go ahead and close that. And then on the file server device, we're going to go ahead and open up the home directory, sync folder, sync docs, important, and boom, Justin, new doc. And we can actually show that in live time if you want as well. So I'll right click, and we'll just call this one test 2. Create, click into that, and then test info, Control S, close out of that here, and boom, we see test2.txt. And of course, we can view it on this device as well. Now what's really cool is I'm going to close out of both of these here. Close out of this one here. And now on the file server, I'm going to open up the portal control dashboard again. And I'm going to take this option right here, sync docs. I'm going to click it. And what it's going to do is it's going to take all the files and documents in the sync docs directory, and it's going to move those files into, we'll click here. It's going to move those files into our docs directory, and it'll mimic all of the new additions and changes and move them into the local portal so we can access those from the static site. And just to show here, we're going to go into the sync folder and click into sync docs. And again, this is from the end user device, and we'll click into important, and boom, now they're gone. So it's not eating up the storage space on our end user device. So again, we're moving those files from the sync folder to our local portal folder. And I'm going to go ahead and close out of this option here. And I'm going to go ahead and close out on the file server as well. And then what I'll do is open the local portal again. And once it loads here, we'll click into the documents directory. We'll click into important. And there we go. We have just a new doc.txt and test2.txt. So we can click into those. And this one here as well. And that's how we can share files from the end user device back over to the file server. And then again, like I said, it moves those files so we don't eat up storage on our actual end user device. All that storage goes back over to the file server, and it's located and stored on the physical storage for that device. All right, so in the next one, we'll jump into how we use our backup storage and our backup storage scripts. Okay, so in this one, I want to share how we can back up our data from the file server device to our USB backup storage drive, which is connected to this particular device. It has 128 gigabytes of storage space, and we're going to go ahead and click into that mounted drive here, portal backup, and we do have the same 3 directories of docs, pics, and biz. So I'm going to click into the docs directory and into important, and we see all we have is resume edit.pdf and resume edit.odt. So we're going to go ahead and close this here real quick. And just as a reminder, we're going to go ahead and open the local portal, docs, important, and we have the 2 new files that we just created, test2 and just a new doc.txt. So we're going to go and close out of that. And I'm going to select into my dashboard here. And I'm going to go ahead and do USB backup. And I'm going to go ahead and count that down again. 3, 2, 1. And we're going to go ahead and drop into our backup storage device, portal backup, docs again, important, and boom, there you go. Just a new doc and test2. All right, so that's pretty much it on that. The only thing I have here is a text file that will let me know right here, backup completed on Monday, September 1st at 9:43. However, I do have the backup ran on a cron tab scheduled task job, and that runs every evening. So that way this is automated and it will back up all the data for me. All right, so in the next one, I'll actually jump through sharing the scripts and the log files and just kind of tie it all together. Okay, in this one, I just kind of want to bring everything full circle. So what I'm going to do here is open up the portal control dashboard. And I just want to share that this dashboard is built with the YAD, which is yet another dialog. So you just create your own window, you create your buttons, and you attach your shell scripts to these buttons so that way we can execute them. And real quick here, I did show the sync docs. I will just say sync pics and sync biz is obviously identical process to how sync docs works. That's why I didn't walk through those last 2. But we're going to click into the scripts folder here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. So all of the scripts right here are shown in this window. The only one that's not in here is our system stats, because I did share that one inside of the local portal folder, considering it was directly in alignment to the HTML site. So I wanted the shell script to output the data directly to this HTML file without any issues. So we have the generate stats, which is our system stats button here. We have, I'm just going to go in the order of how it shows in the actual folder. So we have USB backup and our USB backup button, sync to portal pics, docs, and biz. So we have our sync docs, pics, and biz. Then we have our portal control dashboard, which I'm just going to go ahead and move this here. That's the shell script that is hidden behind this desktop launcher, if you will. And then we have the mini server startup and mini server shutdown. These last couple items here of move log 3, move log 2, and move log. These are tied to the actual syncdoc, syncpix, syncbiz scripts. So that way we just get a quick, again, snapshot view of, hey, this last script was ran at such and such time and date. So we just get that output to the text file. However, if we want detailed overview of the script that ran, we actually have logs. So we can select into like sync docs, since that was one that we recently ran. And we see here the reason why it's showing no such file and or directory is because at those times that the cron tab job scheduled task was running, there were no new additional files added to those directories, and therefore there was nothing to move from the Syncthing folder directory to the local portal static site directory. And then we can click into backup log as well. And additionally, we can see basically the breakdown and the details of all of the files that were backed up from our physical device to our backup storage drive. So I'm going to close out of this here. And we're going to go ahead and close out of this one here. And likewise for this one here. Now I suppose one of the last things I want to showcase is mini server shutdown. So I'm going to go ahead and show that one in the next video, because I just want to show, obviously, if and when we connect back to the site, it's going to be completely shut down. Okay, so in this one, I just want to show how we can actually shut down the web server as well as the Syncthing service. So I still have the YAD dialog window opened here, and I'm just going to select mini server shutdown, and we have 3, 2, 1. And we get our notification here, mini server stopped. Static site and Syncthing have both been shut down. And we're going to go over to our end user device. And once I locate my mouse here, there we are. We're going to double click the local portal again. And boom, we can see this site can't be reached. So we have our static site shut down and our Syncthing service shut down as well. I'm just going to close out here. Go back over to the file server, and one last thing I want to show. I'm just going to do shortcut key into the terminal, so Control-Alt-T. And then last thing I want to do is cron, maybe, tab G, and we're going to just scroll down to the bottom here. And we have the system stats task. We're going to open this up. System stats task. And like I said, I have that running every 3 hours. And then I do have that set into a log just so I can look back on that. For the USB backup, I do have that set up to run every day at 8 p.m. And again, I do have that output to a backup log. And then for the sync to portal tasks, I basically have that ran to double check to see if there's been any new additions to the syncdocs, syncpix, or syncbiz directories. And then of course that happens at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So just before the backup task is ran. And again, that is all output out to log files for me as well, just to review. And then here at the bottom, I do have the scheduled task to clear all of these logs that I have in here weekly. So I let them stack up throughout the week and then have it automate to clear those logs and start fresh for the new week. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and close out of this here. And close window. And that's going to be it. Thanks for watching.